Picture this: vast open fields in the American West, where ranchers are unloading truckloads of wool that once represented hard work and tradition, now seen as little more than a burden. These ranchers, who have spent generations raising sheep, are left with mountains of fleece that nobody seems to want. With no buyers in sight, they're forced to leave it behind, letting it rot in gullies, scatter along riverbanks, and pile up in forgotten corners of the land. The wool, once a valuable commodity, is now just waste, exposed to the elements. It might sound shocking and wasteful, but this isn't a story of defeat. Instead, it's a story of unexpected innovation, born from necessity and a deep connection to the land. The reality is, the market for coarse American wool has collapsed. The cost of shearing sheep now outweighs the price ranchers can get for the wool. For many, it's become an economic dead end. Barns are overflowing with unsellable fleece, a byproduct of the meat industry that's piling up faster than anyone can manage. The wool, once destined for sweaters and blankets, is now just taking up space. But where others saw a problem, some ranchers saw a unique opportunity. They began to ask, what if this unwanted wool could serve a new purpose? Instead of letting the wool pile up or clog landfills, these ranchers decided to put it to work, using it to heal the very landscapes they depend on. They started using wool to restore rivers and streams, placing it along eroded banks and in vulnerable areas. What was once a liability is now an asset, helping to stabilize soil and retain moisture. The very qualities that make this wool unsuitable for clothing, its coarseness, its resilience, make it perfect for ecological restoration. It breaks down slowly, holds water, and provides a natural barrier against erosion. What began as a quirky experiment in Montana has grown into a powerful tool for repairing damaged landscapes. Ranchers are now working alongside conservationists, using wool to bring life back to struggling waterways. The idea is simple: take a natural, biodegradable material with nowhere to go, and use it to solve a natural problem. It's a solution that's as elegant as it is practical. This isn't a high-tech government program or a corporate initiative. It's grassroots ingenuity at its finest, neighbors coming together, sharing ideas, and rolling up their sleeves to make a difference. Ranchers and conservationists are literally weaving the fabric of the landscape back together, one fleece at a time. Each handful of wool becomes part of a larger effort to restore balance and health to the land. And the results? They're starting to speak for themselves. Riverbanks are stabilizing, vegetation is returning, and a material once destined for the landfill is now helping to shape a more resilient future for the American West. Why did wool, once a symbol of prosperity and rural tradition, become almost worthless in so many places? How did a material prized for centuries suddenly lose its value, leaving ranchers and farmers with mountains of unsellable fleece? The answer, as with so many things, lies in the shifting tides of global economics and changing consumer habits. The world's appetite for wool changed, and so did the markets that once made it valuable. There was a time when wool was a rancher's bonus, a reliable source of extra income, a reward for hard work and stewardship of the land. But as the textile industry evolved, fine merino wool from Australia and New Zealand began to dominate the global market. Their sheep, bred for softness and quality, set a new standard for what buyers wanted. In contrast, American sheep, bred mostly for meat, produce a coarser, less desirable wool. It's perfect for sturdy rugs or insulation, but not for the high-end fashion industry. As demand for fine wool soared, prices for coarse wool plummeted, leaving ranchers with a product no one wanted. Shearing, once a profitable annual event, became just another expense. Ranchers had to pay for the labor, but the wool itself was worth less than the cost to remove it. Still, shearing was essential for the health and comfort of the sheep. So the wool kept piling up year after year, with nowhere to go and no buyers in sight. Some ranchers clung to hope, storing bales in barns and sheds waiting for the market to recover, but the rebound never came. Others, out of options, resorted to burning or burying the wool, destroying a natural, renewable resource simply because it had no economic value. For many, it felt deeply wrong, wasting a fiber that's not only durable and biodegradable but also part of their heritage and identity. Meanwhile, another crisis was quietly unfolding. Rivers and land across ranch country were degrading, their health threatened by erosion, overgrazing, and changing weather patterns. Droughts grew longer, pastures turned to dust, and wildlife struggled to survive as ecosystems teetered on the brink of collapse. In this collision of excess wool and environmental decline, a new idea began to take shape, one that could turn a problem into a solution. What if this so-called waste could actually help restore the land? Could wool, unwanted by the market, become a tool for healing damaged ecosystems? Suddenly, the wool nobody wanted was poised for its most important job yet: protecting soil, retaining moisture, and nurturing new life. It was time to reimagine wool, turning what was once considered trash into a powerful tool for recovery and renewal. Sometimes, the answer to our biggest challenges is hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to see its potential. And that's where the real story of wool's transformation and the land's recovery truly begins. Western rivers are in trouble, wounded by decades of overgrazing, dams, and climate change. Overgrazing strips riverbanks of plants that hold soil together. Without roots, banks erode and spring floods carve deep, straight channels. Dams and diversions disrupt natural flows, starving downstream ecosystems. Floodplains dry up, and rivers become sterile channels. Climate change brings hotter, drier summers and flashier spring runoffs. Wildfires scorch watersheds, leaving soil bare and water repellent. Rainstorms wash ash and debris into rivers, choking aquatic life. The result: fragile, disconnected waterways struggling to support life. Restoring these rivers means more than just stopping erosion, it's about reviving entire ecosystems. That's where wool comes in. In Montana, ranchers and conservationists started using wool to fight erosion. They stuff raw wool into burlap sacks, creating mats placed along eroding riverbanks. These mats slow water, trap sediment, and rebuild lost banks. Native seeds sprout in the wool, turning it into a living retaining wall. Another technique: beaver dam analogs, or BDAs. Crews drive posts into streams, weave branches, and pack wool into the gaps. The wool slows water, pools it up, and raises the water table. Sediment settles, stream beds rise, and rivers reconnect with their floodplains. These wool-enhanced BDAs mimic beaver engineering, restoring wetlands and habitats. It's a low-cost, low-tech way to bring rivers back to life. Wool isn't just a physical barrier, it's a nutrient powerhouse. Raw wool is rich in nitrogen, a key plant nutrient often lacking in Western soils. As wool breaks down, it releases nitrogen slowly, feeding new grasses and shrubs. It also contains sulfur, potassium, phosphorus, and micronutrients. A complete meal for soil. Lanolin, the natural grease in wool, feeds soil microbes and improves soil health. This slow fertilization restarts broken nutrient cycles. Wool doesn't just stop erosion, it heals the land from the ground up. What was once garbage becomes the foundation for recovery. It's nature's own slow-release fertilizer delivered by sheep. Water is precious in the West, and wool is a natural sponge. Wool fibers can absorb up to 30% of their weight in water. Wool mats capture rain and runoff, holding moisture in the root zone. This gives seedlings a fighting chance during dry spells. Wool helps water soak into the soil, even after wildfires. Over time, it improves the soil's water-holding capacity. As the landscape dries, wool slowly releases moisture, creating a micro-oasis. In a drought-prone region, that's a game-changer for restoration. This isn't just theory, it's working on the ground, where real people and real landscapes are being transformed every day. Across Montana, a quiet revolution is underway, led by those who know the land best. In Montana's valleys, ranchers and conservationists are seeing real results. They're coming together, sharing knowledge, and building trust as they restore streams and revive habitats that have been struggling for decades. One rancher's creek, once a muddy ditch that barely supported life, stabilized after wool mats and BDAs were installed. The transformation was dramatic. What was once a problem spot became a source of pride. Sediment settled, banks rebuilt, and native plants sprouted through the wool. The water ran clearer, and the land began to heal itself, showing just how resilient nature can be with a little help. The creek meandered again, creating habitat for trout and other wildlife. Fish returned, birds nested along the banks, and the ecosystem started to thrive in ways no one had seen in years. In wildfire-scorched areas, wool blankets prevent erosion and help reseeding. These blankets hold the soil in place, giving new plants a chance to take root, and protecting the land from further damage. Green strips of life return to blackened hillsides. Slowly, the scars of fire are replaced by hope, as native grasses and wildflowers push through the wool, signaling a new beginning. The Montana Wool Growers Association now connects ranchers with restoration projects, creating a network of support and innovation. This partnership is building a stronger, more resilient rural community. Ranchers get paid for wool, conservationists get a cheap, effective tool, and rivers get a second chance. It's a win-win-win, where everyone benefits and the land is the biggest winner of all. These aren't isolated stories, they're part of a growing movement. Across the state, more and more people are joining in, inspired by the success they see in their own backyards. It's proof that creative, nature-based solutions can work. When we look to nature for answers, we find new ways to solve old problems and build a better future. When people work with nature, everyone wins. Communities grow stronger, wildlife returns, and the land is restored for generations to come. Wool is helping to write Montana's comeback story, one creek, one hillside, and one community at a time. Wool is just one tool in a growing restoration toolkit. The philosophy used local, biodegradable materials to mimic nature. Discarded Christmas trees are used to slow water and trap sediment in gullies. Coir mats from coconut husks stabilize slopes, though they're imported and costly. Live willow stakes root and grow into living walls along riverbanks. These soft engineering techniques are cheaper and more effective than concrete. They work with the environment, not against it, to build resilient ecosystems. The impact of wool restoration goes far beyond riverbanks. Restored rivers mean cleaner water, healthier fish, and thriving wildlife. Floodplains act as sponges, storing water for dry months and cooling streams. Ranchers benefit too. Their pastures stay greener, longer. These projects show that investing in rivers is investing in entire communities. The potential is global. Every region has its own waste that could become a resource. It's a shift from a throwaway mindset to a circular, regenerative one. Collaboration is key: farmers, conservationists, and agencies working together. By using what nature provides, we can build a more resilient future. It's a story of ingenuity, healing the land with the humble scraps of nature itself.